playing here at the Mutua Madrid Open. So we wanted to know, how are you feeling? No, I feel absolutely wonderful. I love Madrid. It's an incredible tournament. Imagine this, the sun is glowing brightly over the famous courts of the Madrid Open. A filled-to-capacity stadium is alive with excitement. Fans are waving flags enthusiastically. Cameras are flashing from every direction. The atmosphere feels charged with energy because this isn't just another ordinary match day. This is Madrid, where the love for tennis runs incredibly deep and every single moment feels bigger than life itself. Now turn your attention to the center court. Standing there is a young, rising talent from the Philippines, Alex Eala, calm, composed, and completely focused. She has just finished her match, and like every professional athlete, she steps forward for the usual post-match interview. It's a standard moment that players experience regularly, nothing strange, nothing out of the ordinary. At least, that's what everyone assumes. The interviewer smiles, holding the microphone with confidence, and starts speaking, but not in English, in Spanish. Here's the interesting part. This is usually the point where most international players pause. They smile politely, perhaps laugh lightly, and wait for the translator to come in. It's the typical scene fans have witnessed countless times. So naturally, the crowd expects the same thing. All eyes are now on Alex, waiting, watching, expecting that familiar moment of hesitation. But then something totally unexpected occurs. Alex doesn't hesitate, not even for a split second. She doesn't look puzzled. She doesn't wait for assistance. Instead, she leans gently toward the microphone and begins speaking in Spanish. Fluent, clear, and confident. Instantly, the whole energy inside the stadium shifts. At first, there's complete silence, a short pause as the crowd tries to process what they're hearing. Did she really just answer in Spanish, and not just basic phrases but complete sentences with smooth pronunciation and natural flow? It doesn't sound prepared, it doesn't sound practiced, it sounds genuine and authentic, like someone who truly knows the language. And then the reaction arrives. Gasps spread across the audience, people glance at each other in amazement. Some fans break into wide smiles, others raise their eyebrows in surprise. Within seconds, that silence bursts into loud, passionate, unstoppable cheers, because what they had just seen wasn't ordinary, it wasn't expected, it wasn't even common. This was something special and rare, a young Filipino tennis player speaking Spanish as if she naturally belonged there in Spain. In that very instant, Alex Eala stopped being just another international player. She became something more, someone the crowd could relate to, someone they could connect with, someone who understood them not only through tennis but through their own language. And that connection is incredibly powerful, because language is far more than words. It is emotion, it is culture, it is identity, and Alex had just tapped into all of it effortlessly. This wasn't memorized textbook Spanish. This wasn't a scripted answer prepared beforehand. This was natural, fluent, and almost instinctive. You could see it on her face as well, the calm confidence, the ease, the comfort. It looked like she had done this 1,000 times before. And as the cheers kept echoing throughout the stadium, one thing became perfectly clear to everyone watching. They were no longer just seeing a tennis interview. They were witnessing a true moment, a moment that surprises, a moment that inspires. A moment that connects an athlete to an entire nation in mere seconds. Because in a sport where performance usually speaks the loudest, today it wasn't the racket, it wasn't the score, and it wasn't the match. It was her voice. And just like that, Madrid wasn't simply watching Alex Eala anymore. Madrid was truly listening. Now you might be wondering, how did she manage this? How does a Filipino tennis star walk onto one of Spain's biggest stages and speak the language as if she's been part of it her entire life? Well, this is where the story becomes even more fascinating, because Alex Eala didn't suddenly become fluent in Spanish overnight. This wasn't luck, this wasn't a quick effort. This was the result of years of dedication. You see, Spain isn't just another tournament stop on her tennis path, it has become her second home. From a very young age, Alex made a life-changing choice to train in Spain, far away from everything she knew. A new country, a new environment, new challenges. And most importantly, an entirely different language. Imagine being so young and stepping into a world where everything from street signs to daily conversations is in Spanish. At the beginning, it feels overwhelming. You don't understand much, you struggle to express yourself, you feel like an outsider, but instead of pulling away, Alex fully embraced it. She listened attentively, she observed everything. She learned not just from books or classes but from real everyday life, from conversations with teammates, coaches, and the people around her. Slowly, word by word and sentence by sentence, that unfamiliar language started feeling familiar. But here was the important difference. She didn't treat Spanish like a school subject to study. She treated it as a way to truly connect. Because learning a language from textbooks gives you knowledge, but living in that language gives you real understanding. And that's precisely what happened with Alex. She experienced Spain in its most authentic form, its culture, its traditions, and the small daily moments that many people overlook. Walking through local streets, hearing conversations in cafes, sharing meals with friends, laughing, learning, and growing, all in Spanish. She didn't just translate words, she absorbed the emotions behind them. Over time, something remarkable happened. Spanish no longer felt like a foreign language, it became natural, it became instinctive, it became a real part of who she is. That's why during the interview at the Madrid Open, her response didn't feel forced. There was no pause, no hesitation, no searching for words, because for her, those words were already there, ready, comfortable, and real. And when she said that Spain feels like home, it wasn't just a simple statement. It was a reflection of everything she had lived, everything she had built, and everything she had become. Because home isn't only about where you were born, it's about where you grow, where you learn, where you feel accepted, and where you truly belong. And Alex found that sense of belonging in Spain. So when she speaks Spanish, she isn't trying to impress anyone, she isn't trying to prove a point. She is simply expressing a part of herself, and that's why it feels so different, so genuine. Because when a place truly becomes your home, you don't just learn its language, you live it, you breathe it, you feel it. And in that moment on the court, Alex Eala wasn't just speaking Spanish. She was speaking from real experience, from deep connection, and from a true sense of belonging. And that is something no textbook in the world can ever teach. Now let's talk about the crowd, because what happened next was even more powerful than the moment itself. The instant Alex Eala began speaking Spanish on the courts of the Madrid Open, something changed, not just in sound but in emotion. At first it was subtle, a pause, a shared look between fans, a quiet realization moving through the stands, wait, she speaks like us. And in a city like Madrid where passion runs deep and identity matters greatly, that realization carries real weight. Because the truth is, tennis fans don't just watch matches, they feel them, they connect with players, they adopt them, they make athletes their own. And in that precise moment, Alex stopped being the visiting player from the Philippines. She became something closer, someone familiar. The energy in the stadium didn't just increase, it completely transformed. Cheers grew louder, applause became stronger. Every reaction felt more personal and more emotional, because now the crowd wasn't just supporting a talented athlete. They were supporting someone who truly understood them, someone who spoke their language not just with words but with real confidence and authenticity. And that kind of connection is powerful. It turns admiration into affection, respect into loyalty, and interest into complete support. You could see it everywhere, fans leaning forward, fully engaged, smiles spreading across faces, people nodding in appreciation. It felt less like a formal interview and more like a heartfelt conversation between one of their own and the crowd. But the story didn't end inside the stadium, because what happened next took everything to another level. Spanish media picked up the moment almost immediately. Major sports publications like Marca and AS started covering her, writing about her, and highlighting not just her performance but her unique identity. And then came the nickname, unexpected, powerful, and unforgettable, the Filipina Spaniard. Think about that for a moment. That's not just a catchy headline, that's a powerful statement, a recognition, a symbol of belonging, because nicknames like that aren't given lightly, especially in a country so proud of its culture. It means she didn't just impress them, she deeply resonated with them. It's about more than speaking Spanish, it's about sounding like you belong. It's about feeling at home in a place that wasn't originally yours. It's about beautifully bridging two worlds, her Filipino roots and her Spanish journey, into one identity. And then came the most surprising detail. People began noticing her accent, not just praising it but truly analyzing it, and what they said was remarkable. They didn't say she sounded like a student, they didn't say she sounded like a foreigner trying hard, they said she sounded like someone from Mallorca, a local, natural, effortless. Now if you understand anything about languages and accents, you know how incredibly rare that is. Accents are difficult. They carry years of habits, influences, and identity. You can learn vocabulary and master grammar, but sounding like a native is an entirely different achievement. And somehow, Alex Eala reached that level not through shortcuts or imitation but through genuine lived experience. And that's why the reaction from Madrid wasn't just excitement, it was deep respect. Because the crowd understood something important. This wasn't someone pretending to be part of their culture. This was someone who had truly embraced it. And in return, Madrid embraced her back wholeheartedly. And then came the moment that changed everything. Not a powerful forehand or a match-winning point, but something much simpler and somehow even more powerful. A short clip. Just a few seconds long, no dramatic music, no special effects. Just Alex Eala standing near the stands at the Madrid Open, surrounded by fans with phones raised and voices calling her name. In the middle of it all, she smiles, warm, genuine, and real. She looks toward the crowd, makes eye contact with a few fans, and says just one word, gracias. That's it, one simple, common word that millions of people say every day. But in this case, it felt completely different. It wasn't just the word. It was everything behind it, the tone of her voice, the softness in her expression, the sincerity in that single moment. You could feel it. She wasn't saying it out of habit or obligation. She was saying it because she truly meant it, because she genuinely appreciated the love, support, and energy that Madrid had given her. And somehow that honesty came through the screen. Within minutes, the clip began spreading rapidly, first among tennis fans, then across sports pages, and soon beyond sports entirely. Hours later, it was everywhere on Instagram Reels, TikTok feeds, and Twitter timelines. People kept sharing it not because it was flashy, but because it felt real. In today's world where so much is edited, filtered, and sometimes artificial, real moments stand out. This was one of them. Suddenly, people who had never watched her play before knew her name. People with no connection to tennis felt connected to her. Why? Because this moment wasn't about rankings or statistics. It wasn't about wins or losses. It was about emotion, connection, and humanity. You'd see comments like, "I don't even follow tennis, but I love her energy. That smile feels so genuine. She respects the fans. This is rare." And just like that, Alex Eala became more than an athlete. She became a moment people wanted to be part of, a story people wanted to share. Because deep down, everyone understands gratitude, everyone understands connection, and everyone appreciates authenticity. That's what made this clip so powerful, not its length, not the setting, but the feeling it carried. And here's the bigger picture. Sports has always been about competition, winning, and proving who is the best. But moments like this remind us of something deeper, that sports can also bring people together across countries, languages, and cultures. And in that one word, gracias, there was no barrier, no distance, no difference, just a shared human experience. In that moment, Alex didn't just represent the Philippines, she didn't just connect with Spain. She brought two worlds together. She showed how a simple act of appreciation can cross borders, how one genuine moment can touch millions, and how one voice can make people feel seen, valued, and connected. And that's why this clip didn't just go viral, it stayed with people, because long after the video ended, the feeling remained. So, what does all of this really mean? What are we actually witnessing here? Because if you look closely, this story is much bigger than a viral clip, bigger than a post-match interview, and bigger than even the Madrid Open itself. This is the rise of a different kind of star. Yes, Alex Eala is highly talented. There's no doubt about that. Her game is sharp, her focus is strong, and her discipline is world-class. She's climbing the rankings, facing stronger opponents, and proving she belongs on the biggest stages in tennis. But here's the truth. Talent alone doesn't make you unforgettable. There are many great players and many rising stars with impressive skill, power, and technique, but very few have something extra, something that goes beyond the scoreboard, and that's exactly what Alex brings. What makes her special is not just how she plays the game, but how she connects with people. Her humility stands out. Even in moments of attention and praise, she stays grounded. There's no arrogance, no distance, just a genuine personality that people can relate to. Then there's her openness, her willingness to fully embrace another culture, not halfway or superficially, but completely. She didn't just visit Spain, she became part of it, she respected it, she understood it, she lived it, and that is something people can feel instantly. Because let's be honest, anyone can learn a few phrases in another language, anyone can memorize a response. Anyone can try to impress, but not everyone can make an entire crowd feel like you are one of us. That requires something deeper, something real. And that's exactly what she achieved in Madrid. In a sport where players often rely only on performance and success is measured in points, sets, and trophies, Alex added something rare and unforgettable: personality, connection, and humanity. And those three things last much longer than any match result. Because years from now, people might forget who she played that day, they might forget the score, they might even forget the stage of the tournament. But they won't forget this moment, the moment she spoke, the moment she connected, and the moment she turned a stadium full of strangers into supporters, believers, and loyal fans. Because moments like that don't fade away. They stay. They become part of a larger story, the story of a young Filipino athlete who didn't just travel the world to compete but to truly belong. And maybe, just maybe, this is only the beginning. Because if she can create this kind of impact already at this stage of her career, imagine what the future holds. Bigger tournaments, bigger crowds, bigger moments. And if she continues to carry this same authenticity, this same connection, and this same energy, then she won't just win matches, she'll win hearts everywhere she goes. And that's when something truly special happens, because the world doesn't just watch stars like that, the world supports them, the world believes in them, the world cheers for them. And right now, that's exactly what's happening with Alex Eala. She is no longer just a promising player. She is becoming a global story, a symbol of connection, and a reminder that true greatness isn't only about what you achieve but how you make people feel along the way. And if this moment in Madrid taught us anything, it's this: her journey is no longer just about tennis, it's about impact, and the world is ready for it.